In 1922, in a remote German village, a family began hearing footsteps in their attic. They searched the house, but found no one. Days later, the entire family was found brutally murdered. Even more disturbing, neighbors swore they saw smoke rising from the chimney in the days after the killings. Had the murderer stayed in the home, living among the corpses? This is the chilling, unsolved case of the Hinterkaifeck murders. The farm at Hinterkaifeck belonged to Andreas and Kazilia Gruber, an older couple in their 60s. Living with them was their widowed daughter, Victoria Gabriel, and her two children, 7-year-old Kazilia and 2-year-old Joseph. The family was known in town, but not exactly loved. Andreas was strict, stubborn, and had many enemies. Some even whispered dark rumors about him and his daughter Victoria, rumors that caused tension in the village. Despite this, life on the farm was steady. They worked the land, cared for their animals, and rarely mixed with neighbors. But their quiet life was about to be disrupted by something sinister. Months before the murders, their maid suddenly quit. She told friends the house was haunted. She said she heard footsteps in the attic, doors creaking open, voices whispering when she was alone. Then, in the days leading up to the crime, Andreas made disturbing discoveries. One morning, after fresh snowfall, he noticed footprints leading from the forest straight to the back door of the house. But strangely, there were no footprints leading back. That same week, he heard footsteps in the attic at night. He took a lantern, searched the rafters, but found nothing. He was so disturbed that he told neighbors what he had seen, but they shrugged it off as paranoia. Andreas, however, was convinced someone was living in their home. On the night of March 31st, the Gruber family went about their normal routine. But outside, in the dark woods, someone was waiting. One by one, each family member was lured into the barn. Perhaps by cries of help or strange noises. We don't know exactly how. But what we do know is that each person was brutally murdered with a mattock, a heavy farming tool like a pickaxe. Andreas was struck first, then his wife, then Victoria, finally, little 7-year-old Kazilia. Her body revealed she had been alive for hours after the attack, pulling out her own hair in terror as she lay dying. Inside the house, baby Joseph and the new maid, Maria Baumgartner, were also killed in their beds. Within hours, 6 lives had been taken. Days passed with no sign of the family. Neighbors noticed the Grubers hadn't been at church. Mail piled up. The cattle mooed endlessly in the barn, unfed. Finally, on April 4th, neighbors entered the farm. What they found was horrifying. The family's bodies were stacked in the barn, partially covered with straw and old sheets. Inside, the maid and baby Joseph lay dead. But here's the part that made this case so terrifying. The killer had stayed. Neighbors said they had seen smoke rising from the farmhouse chimney days after the murders. Food had been eaten from the kitchen, bread baked, the cattle fed, even the dog had been cared for. Whoever killed the family had made themselves at home. When investigators searched, they found signs of someone sleeping in the attic. Straw bedding, discarded scraps of food. It seemed Andreas had been right all along. Someone had been living in their attic, watching them, planning their murders. The investigation dragged on for months. More than 100 suspects were questioned. Some theories suggested it was a disgruntled neighbor jealous of the family's land. Others thought Victoria's rumored lover might have been involved. Another dark theory pointed to Andreas himself, suggesting he killed his family in a fit of madness before someone turned on him. But nothing ever stuck. Theories continued to swirl. A vagrant passing through the woods. A soldier, broken by war, living in their attic. Even the possibility of multiple killers. But the strangest detail, whoever it was, they lived among the corpses for days, feeding animals, eating meals, listening to villagers search nearby. It was as if the killer wanted to blend into the family's life before vanishing forever. Eventually, the farmhouse was demolished. A simple memorial now marks the site, but the case has never been solved. Each year, locals still whisper about Hinterkaifeck, about the footprints in the snow, the footsteps in the attic, the fact that the killer was never caught. To this day, no one knows who slaughtered the Gruber family or why. What we do know is this. In the silence of that farmhouse, someone was watching, waiting, and when the time was right, they struck with terrifying precision. So what do you think happened to Hinterkaifeck? Was it a jealous neighbor, a secret lover, or a stranger hiding in the attic, waiting for the perfect moment? 100 years later, the murders remain one of Europe's most disturbing unsolved crimes. And the chilling thought is this: whoever committed the crime walked back into the forest and was never seen again.